Thank you. Let us start with the veneration to the Buddha, homage to the Buddha 3 times. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Venerables of the Sikh, brothers and sisters in the Dhamma, now this is the second talk that I am giving in this center this time. At the beginning of this year also I gave a few talks here. I may say something that you might have already listened to, but still when we listen to the teachings of the Buddha, although we repeat something, that will be a matter of practice. Our practice itself is a matter of repetition. Otherwise, once said something, it's not enough for our practice. If you read the discourses like Satipatthana Sutta, the discourse of mindfulness of breathing or discourse of the 4 foundations of mindfulness, you may notice reading it once is giving you something meaningful, but when you read it again and again, you will add some more meanings to your life and also to your understanding. That is the beauty of these teachings of the Buddha. So when we now talk about the Buddha's teaching, we come across often the terms like bhavana, terms like sati, mindfulness, bhavana translated into English, although it is so limited, it is meditation. Now when we really pay respect to the Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha, from there we can see how the Buddha's interpretation of Buddhist meditation starts. Buddha's interpretation of meditation is not limited to concentration alone. It is not limited to one of the links of the Eightfold Path. It's the entire Noble Path, which is called meditation, Buddhist meditation. But we tend to think normally concentration is what is meditation is all about. That is why people also always ask us, how long do you meditate a day? Then I tend to say that this question is unfortunately a wrong question. Why? Meditation is not limited to a concentration or just sitting. Meditation is entire personality development based on wholesome practices, wholesome qualities. From the beginning to end of the Noble Eightfold Path, even adding some more links like Samma Jnana and Samma Vimutti, right knowledge and right liberation. All this is about meditation. So this way we can see the question that we tend to ask is a wrong question, because society has interpreted, the society has translated bhavana into English in terms of meditation. So why do we need to know all this? Because we need to go in search of the authentic meanings of this practice. If we limit ourselves to the very end, concentration, as Buddhist meditation, very limited. Buddha's teaching always embraces all qualities connected to wholesome practices. Our verbal, mental and physical activities are to be cultivated continuously. whenever we are awake, then we need to remind ourselves of anything that we are involved in. We can just transform our attitudes. We can also interpret. We can add some qualities from wholesome attitudes, wholesome qualities to our practices. Then, it's not only at a sitting moment that we add wholesome qualities to our personality development. We can even add qualities while walking, while eating, while cooking rice, while cleaning the toilets, while going in buses, by buses, talking to people, all that. Because you know, Samma Vacha, for example, right speech, right action, right livelihood. We don't tend to say that they are meditation, but they are included into bhavana in the original sense of the term. Why do I say that? You are familiar with the first discourse of the Buddha, setting the wheel of the Dhamma in motion. This sutta says, right understanding, right, what is the second one? Intention or right thought, Samma Sankappa. Third one, right speech. Fourth one, right action. Next one, right livelihood. Then right effort. Then right mindfulness. Right concentration. At the end of these qualities or aspects of the Noble Eightfold Path, Buddha says, Bhavetabbanti me bhikkhave. These are to be cultivated, O monks. The word bhavetabban is the word from which you find even bhavana is derived. Bhavana has the same root. Bhavana means Buddhist meditation as it is translated into. Bhavetabban is a future passive participle if you want to know the grammar of it. That is something to be done, to be cultivated, to be developed. That is the literal meaning. And it is said again in the sense of the bhavitam. That means it has been already cultivated. At least in a glimpse, you have translated, you have cultivated it. You have understood that it is to be cultivated, developed, and you understand, yes, I have already done that to a certain extent. Then this is the way, that we do practically, how we apply these qualities to our life, just in terms of practicing and in terms of cultivating our personality development. So then, if it is that we have to practice the entire Eightfold Path, that cultivation is called Buddhist meditation originally. Later, when we are colonized, middle class people got education, in English medium, and they were the people to speak about the teachings of the Buddha in countries like Sri Lanka. Then they spoke on meditation, Buddhist meditation, and they translated bhavana, which covers the entire Noble Eightfold Path, into the simple term Buddhist meditation. Then they gave talks on meditation. And they lost the meaning, original meaning, in the term Buddhist meditation. And now when we talk about bhavana, we only refer to the translated meaning. Even to talk about bhavana today, we focus on Buddhist meditation or meditation, as it has been already translated with the wrong connotation, wrong meaning attributed to it. So that is a problem, really. I mean, that we are sometimes aware of it, but we, are more familiar with these terms already used in English. Therefore, we tend to say and ask questions like, how long do you meditate a day? Then, this question itself means Buddhist meditation is not what the Buddha meant by bhavana. Buddha meant by bhavana, there is a cultivation of personality, cultivation of wholesome qualities, connected to physical, verbal and mental activities altogether. So, we need to go back to the meaning. Along the first discourse of the Buddha, that is the wheel of the Dhamma, or the setting the wheel of the Dhamma in motion. There you find it is to be cultivated, it is to be developed, and it has been developed. And that is the way of practice. And then you find bhavana, vipassana bhavana, samatha bhavana, and all these bhavana developed. And then what happened was, right speech is not bhavana any longer, right action is not bhavana any longer, only what is called mindfulness is bhavana, concentration is bhavana. If you go to countries like Sweden, there are books, prescribed books for teaching students, for gymnasium, that is advanced level, and also for class 9, grade 9, they have books to teach 5 religions, including Buddhism. So when they teach Buddhism, they have 8-fold path listed. And at the end, they say, last one equal to meditation. That is, right concentration is what is called bhavana, meditation. And the others are just sila, and that is, limited to sila and right action, and all that is, good practice, of course. But when you say meditation limited to concentration, then it is natural that we ask, how long do you practice meditation a day? That means they could have asked actually, how long do you sit for concentration? That's a good question. Or else you can ask, how long do you practice mindfulness a day? Then you can say, whole day I do. I try to apply mindfulness whole day, while driving, while eating, while cooking, while talking. Mindfulness is applicable to anything, all these qualities. So this way, there is a confusion. When you understand that, all that we know can be improved, and see whether we can apply these qualities which are called cultivation, inner cultivation, to our day-to-day activities. So that is the beauty of understanding the meaning of these terms. Then later we know mindfulness embraces all these, because mindfulness is called ekayano maggo, the direct path or only path to enlightenment. Enlightenment or Nibbana. Why is it only path? Because it is not, it doesn't belong to anybody, it is anybody's mindfulness. When you are mindful, it is like a key that you use, awareness. That is being awake. That is the meaning, being awake. So we use something like non-judgmental observation. Non-judgmental observation. But even memory part is involved. Memory. Mindfulness has, come from sati in Pali. Sati meaning memory, or else remembering. Original meaning is actually remembering. But it is not limited to remembering. Buddha wanted to add more. That is why mindfulness is the most popular translation now. Mindfulness is actually full awareness. Awareness is not only mindfulness. Awareness is connected to full awareness, that is called sampajanya. You are familiar with this term. Sampajanya and sati, they work very well together. Sati is compared with when you flash a torchlight, the dot, the light, you can have a very focused dot, and that dot is like mindfulness, and the periphery around the light is focused. The dot, you find the periphery, circle of light, the light, and that is compared with sampajanya, that is knowing, that is awareness, full awareness. So full awareness and sati work very well together. That is why in the Maha Satipatthana Sutta, you find, or Satipatthana Sutta, the discourse of the 4 foundations of mindfulness, at the very beginning you find Satima is there, Sampajano is there, Adapi is there. It begins with Adapi, Sampajano, Satima. Adapi means one who makes effort, skillfulness, effort, energy for ethically developing qualities like kusala development. To get rid of akusala, that is the unwholesome aspects. To decrease akusala, that is unwholesome aspects. To increase kusala, the wholesome aspect, is the effort that we make. So in this sutta, Atapi is a word, is a noun actually. We can become Atapi, no. One can become Atapi. Atapin is the root, I mean the basic word. Atapin means one who makes effort, one who makes energy or create or initiate effort. So Atapi is a quality of a practitioner, and then Sampajano is another quality. Sampajano meaning, Sampajanya is the same word in different form. Sampajano is full awareness. In other words, it is right understanding. Right effort is there here, right understanding is there. So 3 qualities connected to Noble Eightfold Path are mentioned here. Then Atapi, Sampajano, Satima. Satima means one who has sati, one who has mindfulness. So when you are qualified with these 3 aspects, we can continue with the practice. So we should be equipped with these 3 characteristics. One, we have to have Atapi, that is one who makes effort to increase kusala aspect, wholesome aspect, to decrease unwholesome aspect, that is Atapi, that is to make effort. Second aspect is one has to have open-minded attitudes, that is right understanding or full awareness. That is full awareness which helps us, or right understanding that helps us to focus on suffering, insight, development of insight, discernment of any suffering or stress, so whatever you mean for suffering or by suffering. And the satima is awareness or mindfulness. It's a way of being awake. Being awake to what we speak, being awake to how we are, our bodily activities, being awake to what we think and what thoughts occur to our mind. That is what is called one who has mindfulness, satima. Sati is mindfulness, ma is the word, suffix, saying one who has. So these 3 qualities are emphasized in the Satipatthana Sutta to begin with. Then you find in the Mahachattarisaka Sutta of the Majjhima Nikaya, the Great 40 is the translation. That means the Eightfold Path, you can add 2 more like right knowledge and right freedom, right liberation. Then altogether 10 links are there. All these are explained in this sutta in 40 ways. So that is why it is called the Great 40. In this sutta you find, in the very beginning, Buddha says, 3 qualities should be the forerunning or the leading characteristics. What are the 3 qualities there? Right understanding, right effort, right mindfulness. Of the Noble Eightfold Path, of the 8 aspects, 3 are very important because they are to be present with all other things. If it is right speech that we are using, right speech will be completed with the support of these 3. Right understanding must be present, right effort must be there, and right mindfulness must be there. Then only right speech will be wholesome and effective. Right action, giving dana or helping somebody, all that. Right action. going to temple, listening to Dhamma, preaching the Dhamma, all that, right action. But to make it complete, wholesome, we need to have these three qualities supporting this practice. Right. What is the three qualities? Right understanding, right effort, and right mindfulness. These three qualities must be the leading ones together with any other links of the path. And these three links are emphasized even in the discourse of mindfulness of four foundations of mindfulness. That is why I say Atapi Sampajano Satima, representing these three characteristics. Atapi is right effort, Sampajano is the first one, right understanding, then Satima is what is called right mindfulness. So when we have these three supporting, you find any links of the path will become more and more wholesome, and practically they are useful, significant. Can you remember the 7 factors of enlightenment? Yes, you remember them. What is the first one? Sati. That is where right mindfulness comes. Sati is a good foundation. Foundation doesn't mean we limit it to the foundation alone. Right mindfulness is supportive to all other links. So it is a good foundation, it's supporting continuously. So right mindfulness is the beginning. What is the second one? Dhamma Vichaya. And that is investigation into Dhamma. Investigation into facts like stress or suffering. We analyze into 4. That is where we come across 4 noble truths. Suffering, causes of suffering, end of suffering, and path leading to the end of suffering. So we have 4 aspects always. If it is a sickness, causes of sickness, recovery, and medication. So we have at least 4 aspects to analyze any conflict whatsoever, any problem whatsoever. So suffering should be analyzed like that, and our right understanding is for us to be critically open-minded on all this. So we have right understanding there in the case of Dhamma Vichaya. So Dhamma Vichaya means right understanding. And then third one, Virya. I said about Adabi is very connected to Virya here. Right effort in the Noble Eightfold Path as a leading factor. So these 3 are there at the very beginning of the 7 factors of enlightenment. If you start from the third one down, starting from the third one, down, you find right. Virya is there, right effort. Dhamma Vichaya is, let us say, right understanding, because they correspond to each other. And the beginning is right mindfulness. So right mindfulness, right understanding, and right effort. They are always 4 what we call leading factors of the path. So they are very important really. So when we remember them, we can test, we can check our mind. Whatever we are involved in, we can check. In this practice, let us say, we give dana, we offer flowers to the Buddha, we pay respect to them, we take refuge in the Buddha and Dhamma and Sangha. We need to ask ourselves, do we have the right effort here? Right effort is to increase wholesome aspect, decrease the unwholesome aspect. And do we have mindfulness here, being awake to what we are doing? And do we have right understanding here, this critical understanding, that is to overcome suffering? If it is there, if all these 3 are there, your action is right. Your action is very wholesome. So that way they are practically useful really. So in the Mahachattarya Sutta, Buddha says like, all these Noble Eightfold Path, or divide them into Kusala, Akusala, and 20 for Kusala, another 20 for Akusala, you find. Because all these are described even using the opposite words, right understanding and wrong understanding. It's not wrong understanding, which is called right understanding. Right is not because Buddha said that it is right, it is because it is wholesome. Wholesome for oneself and others. Healthy for oneself and others. Therefore it is right, not because somebody said that. It is right for us because we are open-minded there. And that way, we need to see the word Samma. Buddha doesn't use right actually, he uses the word Samma. Samma has a meaning of perfection, or something on the way to perfection. So it's a perfect understanding, it's a wholesome understanding, which is called right understanding. So this way, the discourse of Mahachattārya Sutta, that is what is called the Great 40, there you find the leading factors are there. In the Eightfold Path you find the 3 leading factors, because we don't need right speech all the time. When we are silent, we don't need right speech. When we are seated, it's not necessarily focusing on factors like right speech or right action or right livelihood. Of course, right livelihood is connected. But we need these 3 aspects even when we are silent. Though we speak or we are silent, we need right understanding. We need right awareness. That is what I call right understanding is what I call right awareness. And also mindfulness. And then making efforts. So many aspects are there, but the same thing I repeated now. Hope you remember this. I mean, these are very useful. And then I wanted to just, focus on that all these practices are related to inner cultivation. What we call loving kindness, for example. We sometimes try to separate loving kindness meditation, concentration meditation, sitting meditation, walking meditation, eating meditation, tea meditation, and so on. But actually speaking, all this do something wholesome for you, for me. Therefore, we practice loving kindness meditation in the name of all these practices. Although we entitle them as loving kindness or not, we become healthy when we practice all these methods. Then, though we do not practice focusing on loving kindness as a special subject, loving kindness is important. When we breathe in mindfully, isn't it loving kindness? Because we relax. We feel, at home inside the body, in our body. We feel at home with our breath and in the body. We can't remember the body otherwise. We breathe in. Notice that we relax. So we calm the mind and experience something connected to bodily activities and the relationship between mind and body. And that understanding gives us an opening of the whole practice. And the continuation is along the same line. So this way, the whole practice is based on loving kindness. Sometimes we say, for the sake of, practice and for everybody to be happy, for children to know, we always use these separated words like, may I be well and happy. May all beings be well and happy. That is another focus. But of course what happens is, we become happy when we are seated. When we focus on breath, we relax. We experience joy. We experience calmness, stillness, tranquility, concentration. All these contribute to healthy living. All these contribute to concentration and also mindfulness, awareness. It's a wholesome practice altogether. So this wholesome practice altogether is what is called bhavana, Buddhist meditation. And this way, our reflections, although we cover so many aspects now, we see all that can be summarized in loving kindness. All that we can summarize into compassion. Because we are compassionate towards us. Otherwise, we don't practice like that. We have compassion towards others too. When we take refuge in the Buddha, what we do? We develop compassion. We develop wisdom indirectly. Taking refuge in the Buddha. Once Venerable Ananda got a question from the Buddha. When Buddha met Venerable Ananda, one time he asked, how do you practice, how do you take refuge in the Buddha, O Ananda? Then Venerable Ananda said, as I have learned from the Buddha, I do practice mindfulness of my bodily activities. I practice mindfulness of feelings. I also practice mindfulness of my mind. I practice the mindfulness of my mind contents or mental contents. The four foundations of mindfulness. And then he said, that is what I do as a way of taking refuge in the Buddha. Buddha said, well done, Ananda, that is the way that you should take refuge in the Buddha. You know, it is not by taking refuge in an external figure, external quality, but it is the way of mindfulness that he applies to himself. He practices mindfulness related to body, feeling, and what we call the mind and mind context, mental context. Four foundations of mindfulness. That alone is, Buddha said, a way of taking refuge in the Buddha. Indirectly, Buddha wanted to explain to Ananda, Venerable Ananda, taking refuge in yourself is the way of taking refuge in the Buddha. Bringing qualities of wisdom into you, bringing qualities of compassion into you. Compassion in action, it must be. Wisdom, insight in action, it must be. Then is a way of taking refuge in the Buddha. So it's a way of internal, inner practice, inner development, which is called taking refuge in the Buddha. What is the taking refuge in the Dhamma then? The same. We take refuge in compassion and wisdom. Of course, it's a vast area. Entire Buddhism is embraced with these qualities. So based on compassion and wisdom, you find the entire teachings of the Buddha. So taking refuge in yourself indirectly means you hold some practices, you take refuge in, you are so devoted to it. That means we have already taken refuge in the Buddha as well as Dhamma. What about Sangha then? Sangha is the community based on compassion. Compassion in action. If we have compassion in action, that means we work for each other. We work for each other. We feel the community. We have the community feeling. So that it's not that we do it selfishly for ourselves, we do it for anybody without expecting any thanks or anything like, you know, I did this and therefore you should repay the kindness. No. If you clean the premises, if you clean the toilet, if you cook rice, you don't do it selfishly. Only thing is we forget all this. When we cook rice, we forget. When we clean the premises, when we clean the toilet, we only think of, oh, others haven't cleaned the toilet. So we have a tendency to blame others. If I clean the toilet, I have to make myself happy that I do it for the health, for health, hygiene, good for me as well as others. So let me do it selflessly. Then it gives us merit, it gives us wholesome qualities added to us. So it's a way of community feeling in a practical sense. When we have that sort of practice like cooking rice selflessly, that means for each and everybody in the family or outside the family, be open-minded, we do something. If you do a job, no comparison with how much I will be paid. Money is never comparable with the qualities of values that we practice. So values are there, let the money or the wages come. That is for living everybody needs. But the thing is, we need to add some, mindful attitudes to our practice, add some, we can remind ourselves of the value of these practices. Then, cleaning toilet, sweeping the floor, cooking rice, washing dishes, all this adds some wholesome qualities to our mind. This way, community feeling in practice brings us compassion, and there we have Sangha. We have already taken refuge in this community as a Sangha. So this is the basic meaning of the practice of taking refuge. Taking refuge in the Sangha doesn't mean we take refuge in the monks and nuns only. Then it is external. Taking refuge in the Buddha doesn't mean that we take refuge in the Buddha, who was born in Nepal. Buddha himself said to Vakkali, very clearly, I repeat this several times, when Vakkali was ill, he had blisters all over the body. Buddha noticed that he was so depressed, so weak in his body, and also his sickness is only increasing. So he visited him, asked how he was. Venerable Vakkali said, I'm only becoming, worse and worse in my illness. And I don't see any recovery. But my only worry is that I can't see the Buddha hereafter. I cannot visit the Buddha hereafter. That is why I am worried. Then what did the Buddha say? Buddha said, Hinde Vakkali mina Buddhikayana dittena. What is the use of looking at my foul body, Vakkali, for you to see the Buddha? You should see yourself in order to see the Buddha. You should see yourself to see the Dhamma teaching. In your own life, in your own illnesses, in your own changing nature, in your own aging, in your own suffering, you have a lot to study. When you are mindful of all what is going on in you, see whether you can free your mind. However sick we are physically, we should not let the mind become sick. If we can learn at least that, this is the meaning of our listening to a Dhamma talk. This is the reflection from the Buddha's teaching. Don't let the mind become sick when the body is sick. We are always affected negatively when we have a little illness, when we are in a hospital, in a dying bed. Others did not visit us, relatives have forgotten us, so we complain. If we can remind us that we can do at a time like this, when we sit together in front of the Buddha, in a Dhamma talk, or in a meditation session, or seated meditation, concentration we practice, then we can determine. Whenever I'll be in a situation like that, let my mind remember, let me remember that however I am sick physically, I don't let my mind become sick. If you can train the mind like that, you are safe. Otherwise, when we face death, when we face illnesses, we'll be depressed, we complain, we are angry, we don't like it, and we always expect something outside. We take refuge in external factors, we never get rid of suffering there. It's very important. Whenever we are in a terrible situation, let the mind enjoy seeing how things are, accepting how things are, being free from these problems connected to the physical ailments. Then we can enjoy this insight. We can remind ourselves of this insight, and then we can still maintain our smile. We can be happy. Doctors find it easy then. They can give you simple medication, sickness will be over. You'll be discharged tomorrow. And that sort of a easy practice is there. But if you are depressed and stress created, complaints, it's very difficult to overcome. Doctors cannot treat you enough. Your illness becomes worse and worse. Even though we die, in the next moment, if you are happy, with this understanding, with this insight, that is what the Buddha wanted Vakkali to understand. Vakkali, who was full of wounds, blisters all over the body, understood now. In order to see the Buddha, I don't have to go somewhere. I can see myself in order to see the Dhamma, in order to see the teachings of the Buddha, in order to see the Buddha himself. He was so happy. His life was, very short because his body was so feeble, and he practiced along this line. At the end, he asked his friends in the same place to take him to the forest, because he is not living any longer, but he has overcome the problem. He has already seen the Buddha within himself. Then he asked his disciples and others to take him to the forest, leave him there, let him pass away in the forest so that the vultures will, feed themselves on him. Such a kind of giving up, letting go. He was not shaken. So that is what he faced. So Buddha just paved the way. He arranged his mind to understand that. So he understood this. He was enlightened in a sense that he was not shocked by any of these. So we cannot just, we cannot apply the same thing all the time. But at least when we are in a level that we are not well, we need to remind, so that we overcome suffering. Suffering comes always connected to an identity. It's my illness, it's my body, it is my life. Whenever it is mine, what happens? Capital I is created. Capital I is the birth. We give rise to birth. We give rise to an identity and an agent. I am born continuously because I say, this is mine, this is my life. Buddha wanted us to stop this birth. What birth is it? Not the biological birth that the mother would give you, that we can't stop. Now it is too late for us to stop our birth. We might think, in the future we can stop it. We can never stop it. Unless we stop a way of giving birth to me, mine and myself. That is why Buddha said, we have to understand, etang mama, this is mine, therefore I am, and therefore I create a self. This is mine, therefore I am. Connection between what I own and me is the self. Etang mama, eso hamasmi, eso me atta. These three. By these things, three, we create, three kind of defiling tendencies. Whenever we say, etang mama, this is mine, it's an ownership. It's an ownership. Ownership is corresponding to tanha, craving. So this is mine means we plant the seed of craving. This is mine. So craving created one defiling tendency. So I am born. If it is mine, who is the owner? I, capital I. When capital I is born, what happens? Mana. Mana means I conceit. It's a conceit. So we give rise to another defiling tendency. Conceit. I conceit is born. Then again we say, myself. This language gives us the wrong opinion. I myself. Own. everything. I myself own my life. I myself, maintain my health and so on. So myself is created. It's a speculation. It's a speculative view. So another tendency, another defiling tendency is created. Tanna mana ditti. This is mine, therefore I am, therefore I myself exist. Self-idea develops. It's a speculative view. So craving, I conceit and speculative views multiply our concepts all the time. When we get multiplied, all our stories will be multiplied by this. All our ownerships will be multiplied by this. So we can give rise to, we can give birth to me, mine and myself without an end. Buddha wanted us to say, we have to understand, Buddha wanted us to understand, stop being born. Stop being born. If we are being born continuously, we are called Jayamana. Jayamano. Jayamano, singular. Jayamana, plural. Jayamano means people or one who is being born. Jayamana. Jayamano. Buddha wanted to say, stop that. Then you become Ajayamano. A is added in front. Become Ajayamano in the here and the now. That is the way to practice. So when we become Ajayamano, we stop giving birth to me, mine and myself. At least we should be on the path of doing that. The path of birthlessness. The path of decaylessness. The path of deathlessness. Then there is no agitation. And there is no envy. We don't envy each other there. No competitor, no competition. That is the clear mention you find in the Buddha's teaching. This particular idea is given in the Dhatu Vibhanga Sutta. Dhatu Vibhanga Sutta. The discourse on elements. So we have to develop the negation of being born. That means Ajayamano. Then we become Ajiyamano, not Jiyamano. Jiyamano means decaying. Persons who are decaying. If identity is created, we worry about decay. If identity is created, I worry about my death. If there is no identity created, no matter how aging we are subjected to, no matter whatever time, whichever time, death comes to us, let it come. And that attitude is unshaken attitude. So we become Ajayamano like that, Ajiyamano, no decay, Amiyamano, no death, deathless, Akupamano, no agitation, no way of shaking ourselves. Therefore, no way of envying each other. There is no competition. This is said in the end of the Dhatu Vibhanga Sutta. So I think, taken some time for these discussions, reflections. Hope you have got certain ideas and you have understood what you have been practicing, and we need to improve what we have been practicing to the extent possible and in our capacity. Capacity can vary from time to time, but at least the glimpse of practice along this line to be birthless, agingless and deathless, so that we are not agitated and we don't have to be a competitor, no envying each other. So we develop our attitudes of taking refuge in ourselves in the wise way, taking refuge in our mindfulness in the wise way, in the name of taking refuge in the Buddha. We take refuge in the practice, in our own body, in our own bodily activities, feeling, mind and mental content, in the name of taking refuge in the Dhamma and the Sangha community, working for each other. So with these reflections, This is a reflection based on loving kindness, compassion, mindfulness, whatever qualities that you like, you can name. So based on all this, we reflected on the teachings of Buddha. We develop kusala qualities, wholesome qualities. I want to wish you all the best with the blessings of these noble teachings of the Buddha. And let us extend our concentrated thoughts to our own departed relatives, our living relatives, our fathers, mothers, and our grandparents, whoever you remember from your family, those who are living, may they be blessed by these reflections. With the concentrated mind, we can wish peace, harmony and happiness, and may all beings, including devas and other beings who are not visible and who are in different distances from entire universe, may all beings, including ourselves, attain the bliss of Nibbana with the blessings of the practice of these teachings. May you be well and happy.
Thank you, Doctor. Now we open for question and answer sessions.
If you have any questions, please feel free. Yeah, please.
Maybe meditate, right? We concentrate on certain thing. So, but we do our job, like design something. But we concentrate on that project. It is the same. That type of concentration, but when we do
You can use the mic.
when we do our job, we concentrate on the project, and it's deep concentration, and the project was successful. But when we meditate on the one topic, but it's quite difficult. Are they the same?
Yes and no, I could say. When you attend to your work, it's very important to be attentive. Then it is related to mindfulness. Your job will be successful and good for you and good for others. And the skillful, develops. But when you compare concentration mentioned in the Noble Path, it's not the same actually. Because in the Noble Eightfold Path, what we mean by concentration is collectedness of wholesome qualities. So even at the job, if you pay attention enough, it is wholesome. But when you add some more qualities, you do it selflessly, not only for you and for society and for all, for the good of the country, for the good of the other people, including yourself, then you have a selfless involvement. There concentration gets little more quality. So then it's a wholesomeness. Collectedness of wholesome qualities is what is called concentration in Buddha's teaching. Samadhi is kusala chitta ekaggata samadhi. Kusala chitta means all the 8 qualities, at least the first seven factors of the Noble Eightfold Path, starting from right understanding, ending with right mindfulness. These first 7 are called samadhi parikhara. That means prerequisites of concentration. So concentration is not just stressing yourself to concentrate on something. Sometimes people misunderstand saying, oh, I tried to concentrate, I got headache afterwards. That is not Buddha's teaching. That is not the way of concentration. Buddha wanted to us, relax. Develop collectedness of wholesome qualities. Wholesome qualities should include loving kindness, right understanding, all what you name by wholesome qualities. Peace, harmony, all that is there. Your joy, your happiness, relaxing, all these are contributing to collectedness at the end. So concentration, what is said in the Noble Eightfold Path, is more holistic collectedness. And if you can apply that in your job attentively, then you add merits to your own practice. You can bring this unshaken, selfless, qualities to it. That way, there is a difference. You know, when you cook rice, we normally don't think, I do it selflessly, therefore I am now happy, I want to peacefully attend to it, no matter who helps me or not, regardless of others' help, I just do this selflessly for the good of anybody. If he said to us while cooking rice, you can smile, you can have an inner peace, you can have that open attitude, selfless attitude. Compassion is there, loving kindness is there, insight is there. At the same time, you add some meritorious qualities into your action there. There are mindfulness, and that wholesome, attentiveness is connected to concentration, and that is the collectedness of wholesome qualities. Thank you for your question. Any more aspects you want to reflect on, if you have any? I think I answered your question.